All right, everybody online, it's a crime. Welcome, everyone, to the third installment of the Richard Linklater Retrospective. Oh, wait, I got to start out. No, I don't. That was for Alan because he said I was going to, well, maybe I should say this like this, or maybe I should do this like that. Uh, anyway, uh, so I'm glad to see you all tonight so far. So, I'll go ahead and do roll call. We have General Chester Franklin's in the house, Rosalia's in the house, Ashton, Allen, and Jugdish. So there we go. Tales from the Boyhood. That's right. So, but yeah, this is a coming of age film, kind of told from the son's perspective, the father being played by Ethan Hawke and the mother by Patricia Arquette. And then the sister is actually played by Richard Linklater's daughter. In the younger parts, I think she was pretty decent, but as she gets older, I think she's kind of, her acting is kind of meh. But this was a really good movie. I saw it in the theater when it first came out. Thought it was really good. And I did a rewatch yesterday because since this is a pretty long one, I wanted to kind of reacclimate myself in case things went off the rails and whatnot. But there's a lot of interesting things in it. Really good soundtrack. And the fact, like I said, it was filmed over a 12-year period, starting when it's the boy's name. His last name's Coltrane. I can't think of his first name, but he started filming this when he was 6 years old up till he was 18. And it's interesting the way it develops and how everybody, is and whatnot. And then there's some, at least in my opinion, some unintentional funny parts. But I think honestly, we can all relate to it in some sort of ways, growing up and things and whatnot, even though I had, already been, grown, and up way before where the movie takes place. No, it's not Robbie Coltrane. There is a court kind of, well, you'll see. Ahmed couldn't make it. He's still on the run from the ice cream man. Nice. But it's I think it's actually, it's kind of come down as like a good period piece of sorts. And so anyway, though, I'm expecting Juno hopefully back in another couple of weeks, probably in 1st of October, around there. And Heroic Waffles is in the house. All right, so there we go. The night is young and getting better. But yeah, sorry guys that I did this on a Friday because, well, AEW was 3 hours on Wednesday, and I was like, there's no fucking way I'm going to do this because if this movie's almost 3 hours long, we wouldn't be done till about 1 a.m, and so there was that. And then I was scheduling it for last night, but then I noticed that P was supposed to do his show yesterday, then he changed it to tomorrow night. So I was like, well, because P and I, we don't like to step on each other's toes, and stuff like that. So I was like, well, I'll just schedule it for Friday, see how that goes. So, we're all here and whatnot. And, you know, plus it's going to be a good evening spending it with all of you. Oh, yeah, so another, hey, Darren, glad to see you. Another, another thing I was going to say about this is that, some of you may know and some of you may not, but the musician Charlie Sexton is in this. Also, of course, he was Texas, musician when he was a little kid, and he had a hit in the '80s called was it "Beat So Lonely" or something like that. And then later on, he was in this really good band called the Archangels with guy Doyle Bramhall and the rhythm section from Stevie Ray Vaughan's Double Trouble. They put out this one record that was great, and then Doyle Bramhall he's put out numerous records, but there was one solo record after that he put out, which was really good. But it's kind of funny because in this movie he's quite a bit older, and at first I didn't recognize him. I was like, what the fuck, I go, there's no way that's Charlie Sexton, and it was. But his bits kind of reminded me a little bit of that band bit in Sling Blade, when they're playing, in the house with, like, of course, Dwight Yoakam and Vic Chestnut and Colonel Bruce Hampton, and I forget the rest of the guys that were there. Of course, it's not as fucked up and crazy like it is in Sling Blade, but it just just sort of reminded me of that. Lon Mexton, that's right. Yeah. But everything, yeah, Darren is going well. I've got another pic to send you that's even more hilarious than the other two. But for those of you that did not see our kind of roast stream from Sunday night, on the Subjective Perspective Collective channel, please check that out. Lots of things unfolded and tales were told, and I think it's one of the best things we all ever did. Salami me make 'em. So, but yeah, I'm gonna get this probably started in about maybe 5 or so minutes. Movies up on Hulu and Pluto and AMC Plus, and Look Movie is up at the top for nobody that doesn't have those or whatever. But yeah, I look forward to, like, experiencing this with an audience and whatnot. So, and hopefully, like I said, in about another week or so, Juno will be back in the fold, and I won't be so like, stuff like that. Well, you need to go out and buy a TV rather quickly. Yeah, that's the best thing. All the positive, comments that we received and everything, and I rather enjoyed that. Helter Skelter, yes. The puns will, continue tonight. Thanks to Rosalia. Please tip her if you can. She'll be here all night, so that'll be, she's always, one of the best comedy portions of the stream. And then when both of us get on a roll, it's better than a biscuit. So yeah, that's the way it goes. rival as Jack Ruby. Yes, that was our number one rival, Jack Ruby. So hopefully JuneXas, shows up and Z shows up and the list continues. And of course, this goes out to Todd Christian, who will most likely be watching this on the replay. I never, forget about him and everything and whatnot, you know. So, but yeah, things coming up. There's next week's probably, the last movie in the Richard Linklater Retrospective, which will most likely going to be Everybody Wants Some, which is the sort of quasi sequel to um, Dazed and Confused. Yeah, somebody, I tried to get a watch party for that from somebody a long time ago, and they were a coward about it and didn't want to do it. I don't really like that movie. It's like, okay, you know. Well, as long as Brooke shows up, it's all good. How did the cats in there? They what? You forgot a word there or something. How did the two cats? Shouldn't it be they made up? So they hissed and made up or something. Oh, okay. How did the two cats fight in? They hissed and made up. There we go. Because I was like, that seems a little awkward and whatnot. That's how I always do that in my relationship. I always hiss and make up. I had a few jokes that I saw early in the week and stuff, but I never write that shit down, so I always forget. I did just recently though, well today, and then I finished it up. Was this new movie that's out on Shudder called Night of the Reaper? I think it's all up our alleys. It's pretty decent for a slasher that takes place in the '80s and stuff. Had a few interesting twists. Early also in the week, I watched Honey Don't, which lots of yams, so that was very good. There's a lot of movies lately where they're throwing in these just bizarre twists and angles, and you're like, wait, this isn't what I thought was going to happen in the movie and stuff. But it was pretty interesting. And then I watched She Rides Shotgun, which was an action film, but right in the middle, it just changes course and becomes like a totally different film. And I was really disappointed by the ending. But I mean, all in all, it was okay. But I thought Honey Don't was really funny, really good. And hopefully, Shamarlos will show up so we know what he had to eat today. So, and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's time to get the movie started. So I'll give you guys a minute. You guys let me know when you're ready to go, and then I'll do the countdown and whatnot. Yeah, be sure to watch that, Chester, because I think it's fucking great. A lot of people are complaining about it, but I don't give a fuck. I thought it was a great movie. Yeah, tomorrow is my mom's birthday, so Jimmy's gonna take me out for Chinese food because that's how I'd usually celebrate my mom's birthday. I'd take her out and stuff, and then we're gonna go after we go to lunch. Jimmy and I are gonna go see the Long Walk. Well, it happens, we're not all gonna like the same things, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was a bit better than Juan Legs, you know. That's what I hear. I hear it's a hard fucking watch though, but you know, so we'll see what happens. I saw last week in the theater, I saw Spinal Tap 2 and I liked it. Thought it was a bit short, but you know, the friend that I went with, he kind of was like, well, I went with Jimmy and another friend, and the other friend was like, well, it's not as good as the first one and whatnot. And I said, well, I wouldn't, I was like, I shouldn't expect it to be, it's like 41 years later, you know. Jug Dish is on repeat. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 10 count. So hope you guys are ready. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, Quattro, Trace, Dos, Uno, plus play, bitches, and pendejos, and chupa mi salsa. He's a bad man when he wants to be. That's for sure. But he wasn't as bad as your cousin Ramsey the douche. Yeah, this starts off, with Coldplay's Yellow, and now you can get busted at a Coldplay concert with their kiss cam and all that kind of shit. You got to watch out. So the kid says you flick water into the air, it'll turn into a wasp. So. But Patricia Arquette, she's got that long ass hair looking like she did in Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Cold gay. We used to call him Coldlay. So yeah, he put friggin' rocks in his sharpener to try to sharpen them into arrowheads. So then you got him and this other kid riding bikes, and they're going to go spray paint underground and stuff like that. But it's not like, in Gummo where they're, going around, killing cats and selling the cats' corpses and stuff like that. So you have, Patricia Arquette. She's like a divorced single mother, and then this is one of the guys that she's kind of been seeing, which is kind of a prevalent theme in this film. So yeah, she's reading them one of the Harry Snotter books and stuff. So here come, so this guy shows back up. They're getting drunk, and basically she's pissed because she thinks that he called the kids mistakes and stuff like that. Yeah, they must have given like this girl LSD because she starts singing this Britney Spears song and all this fucked up. I mean, I thought that was like one of the weirdest things I'd ever seen. Some girl like 8 years old or 9, singing this fucking song, and then she pulls the Eddie Guerrero on him and starts crying, and all that, acting like he hit her and stuff. LSPTSD. There we go. So one of the kids, his friend, gets a lingerie catalog or some shit that he found. So they're looking at the yams and brasiers. You know, no, I saw Spinal Tap last week. I'm going to see Long Walk tomorrow. See, the little kid doesn't want to move, and how do you think the kid's gonna like, make a living to live there and pay the fucking rent? They didn't create OnlyFans for little kids. That's just not a that's a pipe dream. Spinal Fap, yeah, there you go. No, I didn't. I didn't hear about that. But he's a big movie star these days, so yeah. First Violent Night, if it's the one I'm thinking of, was a pretty good movie. But that movie, Him, isn't that about the ED pills and all that, and stuff? They show the commercials for that all the time, hymns and all that. Yeah, him being in that Happy, Gilmore too. I mean, he didn't do much in that movie. Goodbye, old lady who listens to rock music and rides a motorcycle. So now they're heading to Houston. They didn't even bother to, you know, come by and say hello, when they filmed this. So I was kind of pissed. Maxi pads. Mhm. these little punk ass kids, going to school and using computers and shit like that. Didn't have, in my day. Now they're hanging out with their grandma and shit. So here's when Ethan Hawke shows up and whatnot. He's wearing his Mexican busboy shirt, picking him up. This is before he, turned into the grabber and got a van. Yeah, it was always hard turning in, all your homework from an Etch-a-Sketch. It's good to see that Chester is back coaching the Lions, so hopefully they will do good this year. The Texans are shit. So they, he takes them bowling and all this sort of stuff. There's old Jugdish and his family there in Fallujah, and stuff. Yes, it is an IFC film. Welcome, Patrick. Good to see you. You too, Patrick. Glad you're here. He asked him, "What did you do in Alaska?" And I was expecting to say, "Oh, I kidnapped some kids in my van." Got known as the grabber. I'm sorry, Waffles. I didn't know you were sick, brother. That's yeah, it's not a good thing, especially like early fall. Colds are shit. Same with spring colds. So now the kid's showing him his arrowheads, and then there was some kind of like frog spine or some shit that he has, some other stuff. Snake vertebrae. I mean, yeah, I couldn't remember it was frog or what. There's beaver claws, you know. Yeah, this movie is fantastic. I actually saw it in the theater when it came out because I've been doing like a Richard Linklater retrospective this month, showing four different ones. Last month I did a Wes Anderson retrospective. So there's this nice inaudible dialogue and all that. Yep, heard all about it. So Mason wasn't feeling good, so she takes him to her class. This is the El Profe, and this guy turns into a real fucking asshole. And then that's when some of the stuff becomes unintentionally funny, at least in my opinion. But we'll see that as we get to it, and stuff. Snake flaccid, yeah. So, the El Profe there is trying to hit on Patricia Arquette, and apparently he does a sort of good job because they wind up getting married, and the kids have a brother, stepbrother, and stepsister, whatnot. Good riddance, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. Yeah, there's that bit where they say, "Hey, Paul, tell us a joke," and then he starts cussing, but it's probably like the dude has Tourette's or some shit. or at least they had him do that so they could get the R rating. But I don't think there was a really R rating anyway. So then they're all dressed like Harry Potter and the other weirdos going to pick up the book and all that sort of stuff. God, I remember when we had to do that fucking shit at Borders, you know, those fucking book release parties and stuff. So now this idiot's trying to teach them to play golf. They should have just got Happy Gilmore. They would have learned how to play golf. Yeah, so he gets pissed because he can't make the fucking shot. He's got to go to King Liquor. Yeah, they're all about to find out what an alcoholic his stepdad is. The Silence of John Hams. Yeah. It's like, you know, he's got to be a complete asshole about them doing chores and shit because their dad gets there and all that, you know. Like he's some kind of fucking drill sergeant or something. Jeepers hammers, yeah, Jeepers hammered, you know. Then you got old Patricia Arquette with her bob cut there and stuff, you know. Does accentuate the yams though. I mean, what? Like it's a real weekend when you're only gone one day, you know. Bob cut gold twat, yeah. Coming in short. So you get to see some of downtown Houston, you know. It's not much. Nobody gives a fuck, you know. I hate downtown, but you know, it's just the way it goes. Yeah, Franklin could have used some Firestone uh, tires and a rocket launcher. You know, he could have left old Sally there. Sally, I heard a noise. It's coming from over there. And then he would be like, oh shit, flies out of there. Oh, you gotta love Franklin because he's such an asshole. But I mean, I know a better Franklin, and that's Chester Franklin. So they go to that butterfly place, and then they playing hide and seek. Then they're going to go to the Astros game and stuff. I mean, it's kind of the point though when Leatherface gets Franklin. But to me that's one of the you know funniest parts in the whole movie. Unintentionally funny, of course. Clemens was a fucking asshole. I didn't really like that guy at all. He was a racist. Well, I tell you what, Leatherface sure cleaned Franklin's hemorrhoids for him, just like in Texas Chainsaw Massacre too, when old Sawyer gets hit with the saw and everything. So this is the part when they come over, and it's where Charlie Sexton's in here and stuff. Charlie Sexton plays Jimmy, Skinny Jimmy. Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I think Ethan Hawke he's okay as a musician and singer, but here he's just trying to rip off Jeff Tweedy and Wilco. What the hell? Mahammed. Okay. So he's asking his dad, if there's any real magic in the world, like elves and stuff like that. Roller coaster of glove. So he brings him home, and he's got the Flaming Lips playing on the radio. So yeah, they're looking at some porn there on the internet. These kids these days, Yeah, so this, jack off of a stepdad is making the two boys get haircuts and stuff. Yeah, that guy actually kind of reminds me of a boss that I had once. Real pure asshole. Hey, Shamarlo, it's good to see you. I was waiting, for you to see what you were, you know, eating. So it's pizza tonight. We didn't place our bets on what it would be, but good job. You're watching The Jester. How many times have you watched that? They got The Jester 2 coming out pretty soon. Nobody's perfect, as she says. Comes into class and all these morons are laughing at him and shit, just because he has a haircut. I mean, if he'd come in there with a rainbow wig, or something, that was gonna be a different thing. You've watched The Jester 9 times. Holy crap. Yeah, with the long hair, she's way better looking and stuff. So these kids are passing a note around and stuff. So I think this little girl's got a crush on him and stuff. Now his hair's grown back. That was a real quick, from the short hair to the, you know. Yeah, so this is where it gets unintentionally funny. Apparently the old alcoholic is a wife beater and shit. Way to ruin the family dinner. Then this scene, he becomes like a cell phone Nazi and stuff. He's has his kid go, into the fucking store, the liquor store, to cash a fucking check because he can't get any money out of the ATM, but he's sending the kids to do all this shit for him. I mean, what a lazy bastard. And it's funny that liquor store is called King Liquor, where they tweet, where they treat you like a queen. Probably a damn hot check. Then he scares the bejesus out of the kids because this van was going too slow. All those, the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, those are the best, man. They totally, blow Carpenter out of the water. So yeah, she came to the rescue to get the kids out of there and stuff. So now they got some other little girl that's singing like weird ass songs. It'd be her new little sister for a minute or something. I'm sure old Grandpa Charlie, left them a chunk of money. So yeah, they're putting up Obama signs in people's yards and stuff. At least he's not, Ethan's not a drunk like the other guy was. But he's talking to him about, sexual stuff. All right, Zodiac. Thanks, brother, for coming in and everything. I appreciate it. Have a good night. And, I'm sure I'll see you somewhere, in the funny papers here, there, somewhere, everywhere. So, yeah, they're going to go camping, while Samantha's going to go to her, ridiculous party and stuff. Hey, Lay, I'm doing good. How are you? Just watching this flick that has nothing to do with Joy Division at all, but there's a lot of music in it. So, what have you been up to? You talked to the mayor? The mayor's probably bumming it around here somewhere. Still waiting for his Joy Division subscription box. No, not Mayor McCheese. So this was one of the funniest things here. They start talking about, Star Wars, and this was before the last trilogy came out. So it's kind of funny that, a few years later, that last trilogy comes out. You and Ray know people all over the place. McDonald's, Taco Bell, the arcade. Y'all get around. Nah, Ray does some great videos. Well, you both do because you're in some and stuff, and they're very enjoyable. So now he's like in junior high, and I think she's in high school now. Oh, yeah, and then this part, there's these couple of assholes that kind of bully him, but they don't really, have any, like one scene or whatever. I guess he just kind of put it in to show, that kids can be assholes and shit like that. But there wasn't any big deal. And that one kid with the turtle face looks at him like, hey, you know. But yeah, there was just some good vids. I like what you guys are doing. This girl asking him if he's read the Twilight books. And at least she doesn't like them. She said she tried, but she thought they were too cheesy and stuff. Yeah, that's right. They moved to San Marcos, which is a very smaller place than Austin, San Antonio, or Houston. Yeah, Twilight. I call that stuff twig light. You know, I remember once this girl I went to junior high and high school with had her on my Facebook and stuff, and when that movie for 50 Shades of Grey came out, she flipped the fuck out. She was probably drunk. And, you know, all these dumb women were saying that they were, you know, trash and all this other stuff, which I agree, but I just thought it was funny coming from this, you know, woman. And, you know, I found this thing where some guy was reviewing it, and it was funny as hell because he said it was like when you accidentally watch Rosemary's Baby on Easter Sunday or some shit, you know. And I thought, oh man, that's great. So I was gonna post that on her thing, but then of course, you know, her being the dummy that she is, she took the thing down and stuff, you know. So Patricia Arquette's pissed because the kid's sister didn't pick him up, you know. So yeah, he said he asked if he could go camping, and these idiots are at this house that's being built and breaking boards and getting drunk. They almost set it up for like a tragedy to happen, but nothing happens. Throwing the, you know, this saw blade like it was a fucking ninja star or some shit. And he's got to start talking about cat shit, you know. Oh, I'm drinking cherry Pepsi Zero. That kid just said the only reason you cum guns are here. I mean, like, what the fuck? Yeah, I heard there was some flap about Baja Blast or something that some woman caused some sort of bullshit. I don't know what it was. I'm gonna have to look it up. But I was like, what the hell? People were bitching about it on Twitter. I'm like, I'm gonna drink whatever the fuck I want to drink. And if I want to drink some Baja Blast, that's what I'm gonna do. So here, old Patricia Arquette, because she has her school and all, or being a professor, she's invited a bunch of her students over for some kind of fucking pre-Thanksgiving deal and whatnot. And then she, of course, yeah, it probably was Lay, stuff. But yeah, so Trisha Arquette's she's gonna marry another winner here in a while, you know. So, it'll be another unintentionally funny moment, you know. The guy's a fucking loser and stuff. She should have just stayed with Ethan Hawke. But yeah, I think it was too delicious for her or something. Yeah, the Midnight Baja, was that the purple one? I tried one of them and I thought it was pretty good. Why was the broom late to work? It overswept. Fanta's got those weird flavors out right now, like the Chucky flavor and the Michael Myers flavor and the grabber and all sorts of weird shit. Kind of ridiculous they put out a soda of a child killer, but you know, hey, whatever works. Yeah, so he's hanging out with that one girl, but I don't know who it is. They don't even really mention it. Yeah, she was pretty chill about him drinking and smoking. So see, this is when old Ethan Hawke starts to become the grabber because he bought a van. You know, bought that van on Ashton's recommendation. So yeah, he wound up marrying that one woman, and they got a kid. So now they got a new, you know, half brother and stuff. She says, "So glad you were born." Well, yeah, you were the one that carried him for 9 months. I mean, what the hell? Yeah, so the kid gets pissed because he sold the GTO and stuff, you know. You can tell that kid's really growing up. He's, you know, getting all those zits on his face. That was actually a very unique concept and gift for him, you know. I liked Pete Best the best. Well, I kind of think he was actually a better drummer, you know, but he didn't make the best. So they go to Ethan Hawke's parents there for the kid's birthday, and this turns out to be one of the kind of ridiculous, unintentionally funny spots as well. So grandma here, she gives him a Bible. And then so they give him a suit, that he can wear at funerals, job interviews, whatever. And then grandpa gives him a rifle, so that's what everybody needs, is a rifle and a Bible. I know, that's actually the first thing I thought when I saw that bag. I was like, it's either a rifle or bagpipes. It would have been better if he had given him the bagpipes, I think. It's like when my grandma gave me that fucking accordion when I was 9. I mean, I would have rather had a set of bagpipes. So here they are in this little country church. It looks like the pastor's wearing a fucking bowling shirt. Oh, I guess it was his wife's folks, not his parents. Yeah, see, now this stupid teacher gives him shit, about being in the dark room the whole class and stuff. I mean, a lot of these adults are total pricks. This film. Well, it's just your opinion. I, I don't think it won anything anyway. Yeah, I know. Been there, done that. So, you have a good night. What a fucking prick. There always has to be one. It's like you got to make some stupid comment. Well, I hope you're good though, man. The fuck is that? Yeah, this guy's is like sort of another one who's a fucking alkie and stuff, you know. She knows how to pick them, you know. It's kind of weird that you know, because I fucking felt like it. That's why. You want to be next? I can be whatever I want to be. It doesn't matter. He doesn't need to come in here and say the movie sucks. I mean, if he doesn't like it, too bad. Why is he here? Riddle me that. Random. I'm not your mate. Hey, Johnny. Yeah, it should be, you know. So I've been, you know, waiting on him to get back. I guess it's just kind of starting, Johnny. Which reminds me, well, believe what you want, asshole. Nobody gives a fuck. Yeah, Chester, go ahead. That's a good one, Rosie. It's just so weird that like she marries an older dude and then winds up marrying like a younger guy and stuff, you know. Yeah, kind of, I guess that, yeah, she kind of ditches the guy or whatever, you know, and stuff. But he's got this job at this fancy ass seafood restaurant, you know. I thought that was funny. That girl saying, "Well, I won't kiss you, but I'll blow you." You know, that was pretty funny. See this manager, you know, getting on his case, but he might as well have been a preacher or something, you know. I think the guy's got other ideas, you know. it's kind of funny that he Ethan Hawke seems to kind of be almost the more responsible parent in a way since he got married and call me when you get there. Yeah, pretty much. Glad you made it, Brooke. I heard you were going to be a little late, so it's all good. Just glad you're here. Yeah, the kid is a philosopher. So yeah, it was at least cool that they showed, the Continental Club. We have one here as well. H2, no. Oh yeah. So then they go to this restaurant and it's like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., some shit. And there's this guy talking to himself, which I think was kind of a homage to Slacker a little bit. It's Slack Christmas. Oh, this was pretty funny. So I got this text or message from 71 like the other day, and she was saying that this one guy that we know that's like a drunk, and a jerk off, he apparently has been talking to my ex on the phone, which, I think is funny that she'd actually talk to a drunk, but then she's, you know, whatever. But the funny thing is, he said she said something to the effect of that he said he likes talking to her because she talks about her knitting and her crafts. I said, yeah, she's going to knit him a cum sock. I mean, I wouldn't, honestly, I wouldn't put it past her. She said one time she was gonna knit me some kind of throw blanket or some bullshit. Of course, it never happened, you know. I wouldn't care what or where. She can burn in hell for as far as I'm concerned. It's like, whoops, they need to get out of bed and get their stuff and get the fuck out. The baby knitter murders. Yeah, they get a bit flushed when they get embarrassed. That's true. Exactly, Rosie. Yeah, so now, you know, I guess Sheena's going to some prom with some dickhead, you know, and throwing Mason under the bus and stuff. So now we jump to graduation and stuff. So that one lady that they stayed with after she got rid of the first, got the hell out of that first alcoholic, is there, and that her daughter is all grown up, the one that was singing crazy and shit at the fucking dinner table and stuff. It's kind of odd though that, they don't act like, her parents were at the fucking graduation, because it was him and his friend driving him over to the house, unless they were there and went separate cars. It's kind of weird, but they all look like they were dressed for a funeral. But yes, I did go to my graduation, of course. Wig science, yeah. If they did a remake of Weird Science, and they called it, Wig Science, it would be, me and Chester in the main roles. Oh, here comes his boss, Peter Pink, and stuff. See, they can't figure it out that his dad is the grabber, and he has the van. Doesn't make any sense. The wig bag theory. I mean, it's kind of weird to have your boss show up at your graduation party and he goes, "Well, I haven't known you since, as much as everybody else here." It's kind of like, dude, who the fuck invited you? Why are you here? And then I think this woman's hitting on him because she's like, "You broke up with your girlfriend and whatnot." And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You need a ride to college?" It's like, well. Then Ethan Hawke's like, "She's such a bitch." Yeah, it's good that they only use this guy as Ethan Hawke's brother in, like, these couple of scenes, because I mean it's kind of ridiculous. Reality bites, yeah. Reality bites her on the ass, or somebody. I don't know. Winona Ryder. Wigbert, the video game. Yeah. I don't know if that's, always true. And he's saying, that women are always trying to, you know, find, find somebody else, and stuff. An American Wig in London. Nightmare on Wig Street. That's correct. It's really weird to like watch a movie like Explorers, and see Ethan Hawke as a little kid, then you watch something like this. But I tell you, one good movie that he's in is that Daybreakers, about those vampires where like blood is scarce and it's got a weird, kind of commodity thing and whatnot. Like, Sam Neill's in that, Willem Dafoe. So now we get to see Charlie Sexton rock out with his band, and whatnot. Guy looks like Jonah Hill on the drums. Hey, Peyton, how's it going? Good to see you. Hope you're having a good night. Oh, yeah. So now they're at this restaurant, and I guess, she's trying to get rid of that house, I guess, and get her place, and telling them that they got to take their shit, and stuff. That's good, Peyton. Awesome. John Carpenter's The Wig thing. Drop Dead Wig. There you go. The Toxic Wig. The Wig Woman. Fade to Wig. Sam, I'm pushing you gently out of the nest, and on the way down, you may find some quarters so that you can do your laundry. So the guy that changed her septic line at the house, she had told him that he could, go to, go to school and stuff. And so he did. So now he's one of the managers of the restaurant, stuff. So miracles do happen, kids. So he wanted to take the chance, and then he thanks her for it and all that. Little shop of wigs. There you go. They wig. Yeah. Now Patricia Arquette, she's all crying because, her babies are growing up and they're leaving the house. They're taking their wigs with them. Wigapalooza. Yeah. So he's driving by himself up to, the college and all that. Oh, I guess FINA does exist. There's actually a FINA station. I thought those were all gone. Roadrunner Deli. There you go. So here he comes to his dorm. And then his roommate, dude, looks like fucking Carrot Top. Shows up. I mean, that's some curly ass hair. Dude looks like Carrot Top. You can definitely tell that's not a wig, kids. Yeah, she giving him some sort of mushrooms or some fucking shit. And then they're gonna go to fucking Big Bend going hiking and shit. Revenge of the Wigs. Attack of the Killer Wigs. If it wasn't Texas, you would say possible Jufro. Well, he's got all that curly hair. He looks like what's that guy Mick Hucknall from fucking Simply Red. That's definitely kicked in for the two of them. They're fucking howling and all sorts of shit. That's a pig's favorite hairstyle. A wig. Kermit and Miss Wiggy. That's for sure. She's a bit wiggy. Wigs and a blanket. So that's where it ends. And, it's kind of shows you what, sometimes some forms of life are like. Not unlike tonight, where we were having a wig all time. you know. But it was a good time as always, you know. And quite go off the rails as I thought, you know. But then, of course, we had some circus acts, come in and stuff. So well, I'm glad you made it through it. You're welcome, Chester. You're welcome, Rosie. Ashton, I guess, just took the van and ran, and stuff. Didn't even stay for Brooke. But, we had Shamarlos, make an appearance, and Johnny, and quite a few. Jugtish. No Anthony tonight. Yeah, I noticed that. No Anthony. But Lay was here, and stuff. No mayor though. I was hoping that she'd get the mayor to make an appearance. And Peyton, was here. And, yeah. So, yeah, P tomorrow night has Good and the Bad and the Ugly, and or the Good and the Bad and the Good, the Bad, and the Wig Ugly, and I think that's 9:05 or whatever, and tomorrow night. So I'm sure I'll see you all there and stuff. Wig dreams, everyone. And then I don't remember. Yeah, Darren was here tonight, but I don't remember what he and Dirk are doing on Sunday. They got something though, as always. It's funny in all the places where he filmed, San Marcos and Houston and Austin, and out there in Butte and Big Bend, and at least it wasn't like that Texas Chainsaw movie on Netflix where they actually fucking were they in Poland or some fucking shit, tried to make it look like Texas and stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for coming out tonight, hanging out and whatnot. And I will see you guys on Wednesday, next week. I mean, I'll see you in peace tomorrow night, but I'll see you guys Wednesday. Should be back at the normal time, and it'll be the last one in this retrospective. I'm going to be doing Everybody Wants Some. And yeah, that'll be that. And then, of course, then it'll be Cocktober, and we'll be watching movies about wigs. No, I'm just kidding. We'll be, I've got some stuff up my sleeve, but, don't expect any of the franchises. That's going to be on everybody else's channel. So, I won't be, doing that stuff, Bob Crombie and, all that stuff. But thanks again, everyone, as always. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you all. So I shall see y'all soon. Love you all, and have a great weekend. See you tomorrow night. Adios, amigos and amigas.